Hey, 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 how we doing? Oh, Prof B here. My apologies for the general aura of disaster that is this kitchen slash apartment space. Maintenance was in here clanging away at a new HVAC system after telling me for over a year that it's in perfectly good working order and we don't owe you any money. So I'm on the trail on that one. Anyways, I felt inspired despite my exhaustion in this chaos to move on with this video series. I was grading everyone's opening quiz last night, and folks gave such wonderful responses to the extra credit question, asking what in the book looks interesting to you. So on top of the stories that I have planned to tell. I'm going to go through those and explore student interest. I typically do that in my classes. Last year was just so heinously stupid and awful that I just was like, here's what you need. We're all going to just get through it. So now we get extra, we get surplus, we get excess, ecstasis. Here we go, the Dionysian and the Apollonian coming on in to stir up motivation in these hard times. Anyways, I'm a crazy lady. I want to talk about patient autonomy today. Often it's covered in terms of patient consent. I can say I do not want this treatment. No, thank you. Whether you believe I need it as a doctor or a nurse or some medical professional, I can say no. That's my right. I'm an American. But you look a little closer at that consent in today's economical financial hard times. Do we have consent when we're saying no as Americans, or are we just saving face because we know we can't afford it? Um, Patient consent is also often discussed in terms of power of attorney. If you're going under for a surgery and there's a chance you can't make it, or you're going to be under for a while, who's your designated decision maker? And sometimes those decisions are very heavy that we must make. Um, that's another one of those themes I try to make lighthearted. Typically, I'll show the episode of King of the Hill where John Force comes to town and needs a new kidney, and Dale Gribble is the only match, and Hank Hill is the power of attorney. And I won't ruin the episode for you, but it's pretty awesome. But today, I want to talk about more nuanced situations that might fly under the radar, but which I know are happening on the daily, not just to me. So first, I want to talk about my um, to talk about an incident I had at the in the ER one time. There's a little bit of backstory before we even get into the ER, so I'll talk about that. Um, so when my bowels first started bleeding, I think in 2022, went to the ER, was able to get my foot in the door with the GI because when you're bleeding, you can get a GI appointment pretty quickly, right in the same week. All my tummy warriors out there know just how hard it is to get seen by a GI. Just bleed, just bleed. Um, don't push yourself into bleeding just to go to the ER to get your foot in the door with the GI. Hmm. You never know how you're going to get prodded. Foreshadowing. That's foreshadowing. So I get a colonoscopy, and as I'm coming out, and again, I'm by myself. Always have a medical advocate. Always have a friend or somebody trusted who can confirm what the doctor has said, and who can keep the doctor from being a bully later on or in that moment or mistreating you. You're in a very vulnerable position coming out of the twilight, or just being in a medical situation to begin with. At least I get so overwhelmed. I sometimes am just missing directions. Um, um, but this, I'm getting out of the colonoscopy. I'm coming to, and the GI goes, it's looking like it's ulcerative colitis. It wasn't the hemorrhoid. She goes, no, it wasn't the hemorrhoid. It's like, it's not the IBS or. the spasmodic stomach or whatever else she was telling me it could have been. Oh yeah, the diverticula. I've got diverticula. Was it the diverticula? No, I found ulcerated mucosa and some bleeding. That's a sign of ulcerative colitis. We took a biopsy and we're going to send that in to look for little biomarkers, and then we'll be able to confirm this or that. But I saw with my eyes ulcerated mucosa and blood. That's more than just IBS, y'all. Not to discount IBS. IBS can knock you on the ground, and I don't think enough people recognize just how terrible it can be. It's disruptive, goodness. Um, so I'm like, well, okay, waiting on the blood work. And of course, I hate it when they do this. They post the results in the patient portal with no explanation whatsoever. And you're like, what does this mean? What does this mean? I'm going on research, doing the peer-reviewed journal because I'm a professor, goddammit. I'm going to figure out what's going on. And so I'm kind of badgering her in the patient portal. She's like, it's not UC. I'm like, but you said it was UC. I specifically asked. I remember asking, and you said yes. Now, I come in there. She's into the appointment with my peer-reviewed research, and she says, "Well, you don't have the right biomarkers." And I said, "Well, up to 25% of UC cases present macroscopically, but then microscopically are missing the presentation. Look here at the peer review. It's only a couple of years old. I know it's relevant." Um, and she just goes, "No, I'm not going to consider it. You're just smoking too much weed." I'm like, well, hold on, hold on. What are you talking about?" She's like, "Well, there's so many causes for blood. It could be that you're super constipated, and then that poop was pounding and pounding and pounding on the same spot in your colon, giving you the ulcerated mucosa and blood." I said, "But you said ulcerative colitis. I heard you." She goes, "No, no, no. I didn't say ulcerative colitis. I might have said proctitis." And I said, by definition, proctitis is a type of ulcerative colitis. Let's practice our logic basics that we're definitely going over in this class. Um, you know, by definition, if you have ulcerated mucosa and blood, there's ulcerative colitis. Uh, and now, or sorry, there's colitis. It could be colitis. Now, what will make it ulcerative colitis is something prolonged. And proctitis points to long-term inflammation, chronic inflammation. I had finally found through imaging the inflammation. It's always elusive with the imaging, gosh darn it. But I went in for a terrible UTI that I got from steroids I took in response to an allergic reaction to a banana. That's a whole nother story. But we've seen that the colon is inflamed. It was inflamed when she was looking at it a few years later. There are signs of constant inflammation. What's going on? You say it's proctitis. Proctitis is a type of ulcerative colitis. So we're operating under that umbrella here. My goodness. Um, so then I guess she felt put on the spot because here I am, a patient, telling her the definition of things that she should already know. And she goes, "It's just you just stop smoking weed." I'm like, "Well, okay, okay. Let's say that it's not ulcerative colitis. Let's say that in some other world, proctitis is not, by definition, a type of ulcerative colitis. Why am I becoming so constipated to the point that I'm presenting as ulcerative colitis, and then through the colonoscopy, you saw that it was ulcerative colitis." She just says, "Stop smoking so much." I'm like, "Well, great. You know, it's not the weed. I don't have enough money to be smoking it all that often. It helps with my tummy. It really does." Um, my goodness, I have a medical card for it, but you still have to pay for it. It's not like Medicaid's gonna be giving you your gummies. Not that I can eat those gummies. They mess with my it messes with my track, gives me indigestion. I'm saying too much in this video, I think, but we're getting personal, looking at situations that might slip through the crack. So I'm like, well, this is some BS. I guess I'll just have to wait until the presentation gets worse, go to a different hospital, get my foot in the door with another GI. And this is also the problem when you don't have a general practitioner, um, for whatever reason that you don't have a general practitioner. I'm out here having to navigate all this myself. One reason is I can't afford a general practitioner. I cannot afford the copay, even if I had one. And Medicaid makes it very difficult to see um, a, a GP, even if you're assigned one. Um, so I'm navigating murky waters here. So eventually the presentation gets worse. TMI, one day it's just globs of blood coming out, plop, 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 right onto the floor. Really gross. Um, I was working 5 jobs. That's just my general state of being. It seems now. So I had to schedule in an appointment with the ER. So I had this presentation on Monday of blood, and then I go on Friday, and I'm telling the it's a med student, a resident there, telling her my story about the first GI. She's like, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. You do not give yourself ulcerative colitis. You don't give yourself proctitis. Yes, proctitis is a type of ulcerative colitis. I don't know what was wrong with that woman. Like, thank you. I feel so seen, so validated. I'm like, she said, what are you looking for today? I'm like, well, I'm just hoping to be seen, maybe get some imaging done today if I can. If not, I just would like to get my foot in the door with the GI because I'm actively bleeding. She said, okay. So she goes and gets the head doctor. And she comes in, really? You came to the ER because your bowels bled once a few days ago and you're coming here? What's going on? And I'm thinking, is this woman shaming me for going to the ER because my bowels are bleeding? I don't understand what's happening. And she's like, I don't really know what you want, what from us. What are you trying to get? What are you trying to get? I'm like, well, last time they gave me some steroid enemas and it was really helpful. If I can have some steroid enemas to help me, you know, get rid of the mucus and the pain, a little bit of this inflammation, maybe. She's like, we don't just give out enemas because you come in here demanding them. And I'm like, Mama, there are so many more fun things to boof than hydrocortisone enemas. Also, it's just hydrocortisone enemas. What's so? I'm not about to be abusing them. I can't get a supply that's going to be months and months and months that could, somehow affect my colon long term or whatever else long term, my pH. I don't know. Uh, why are you giving me such a hard time? I forget exactly what she was saying, but she was just coming at me all up in my face, lecturing me about this and that, treating me as if I was in there to get Dilaudid or something. Um, it was very demeaning. I felt humiliated, but the big humiliation was to come. She's like, okay, so you want your foot in the door for a new doctor? Well, okay, turn over. And she puts on this glove and she's like, I'm gonna inspect to see what's in there. And I'm just thinking, you didn't ask to put your finger up my ass. You just said this is what we're going to do. I'm a professor of bioethics and philosophy of medicine. I know this is not right. What is my foot in the door to get a gastro appointment? My my bowels are bleeding. I do not have benefits. I am heinously poor, and this is okay. I bent over, or sorry, I turned over. Just being all aggressive. She didn't need to be that aggressive. And I've never had this happen to me at the hospital before, where I was prodded in that way. I've had other terrible things happen to me at the hospital, but those are for another story. Um, uh, Actually, that other story will be coming up in this installment. But anyways, last time I was in the hospital trying to get my foot in the door to see a GI, they didn't probe me. So she's digging around in there. She had mentioned in her ramblings that I had disassociated from something about it being a hemorrhoid. I was like, well, is it the hemorrhoid? She's sticking around. No. Is there swelling? She's like, yeah, but it's probably because my finger's in there being all rough. I'm like, my, it's not gonna get that swollen just from one finger in there. For how many seconds has it been? I don't know. It's felt like an eternity. Good Lord. So she's digging around. She's like, well, I don't know. I guess I'll um, assign or prescribe you one single steroid enema. Like, what is this? And then she invited the student to take a look, and the student felt really uncomfortable about it. She didn't want to do that, but she was in a kind of similar position as I was. This head doctor's gatekeeping. We both really need something. How much autonomy do we have in that situation? Um, she stuck her finger up my ass, and I'm like, did I get sodomized here just so I could get proper health care? What fresh hell is America right now? Oh my God. Um, Good Lord. So where is my autonomy there? Is it worth complaining? It's so hard to get a medical malpractice suit even started unless you just about died or somebody in your family died. What am I supposed to do about that? I got my foot into the door. Things have been well with this doctor up until recently. That's the malpractice from this summer that I would like to get to once I get through a few more stories here. But think about that. We could analyze this from an existential position. Our good boy Paul Sartre. I cannot stand Sartre. He has a few good things. I cannot deny the few good things I agree with. But one stance he takes is that we always are in a place of radical freedom, that consciousness exists for itself. It can comport itself towards itself any other way. And that, for example, we can choose to say no to that doctor from sticking her finger up our ass. If someone's pointing a gun to our head, we can say no to whatever demand the gunman has for us. We truly have freedom in each moment. But do we really? I don't know. I don't know. He speaks so much about how our subjectivity is embedded in its facticity, its factual being here, um, its existence in a world that it isn't completely of its own making. I didn't choose to be born in America and to be in this situation with my ass bleeding and have this woman's finger at my ass, probing around willy nilly, power tripping. Gosh, um, but uh, I don't know. So there's this freedom, though, um, in that existence, and that we can make anything of it. Yes, we didn't choose where we were born. I didn't choose for my bowels to be bleeding. But in that moment, did I choose to allow that woman to put her finger up my ass by not making a scene and by not cussing her out and by not even just maybe saying no thank you and being the polite? But like, I'm getting screwed, however. My stance is I might as well go down swinging and making a scene. But I know what happens when you go about making a scene, and I really needed to get my foot in the door. So, are we truly radically free in every moment to make ourselves something, to choose any action that is a possible action set before us? No, no, Sartre. Yes, but no. Anyways, so that's one analysis of patient autonomy uh, that, well, it gets talked about, but there's a very real concrete story for you. I have another one about patient autonomy in the mental hospital one time in 2015, 14 into 15, rough time for me. Um, was in a partial program, gave me the wrong medication. I was in Harrisonburg, Virginia. The service was not good. Having some problems at work. According to my chart, a bunch of angry outbursts. And things kind of came to a head, and I was like, I need to commit myself. So I was down in Richmond, went to St. Mary's, the place of my birth, landed myself on the fifth floor. Did not know what I was getting myself into. You lose all of your autonomy on the fifth floor, whatever floor it might be in that hospital. No shoelaces, no hoodie strings, no sweatpants strings. Um, they rip you off the medication that you're already on, and they go, "Well, we're going to figure out what it is, and we're going to give you our own treatment." Some of those medications you cannot just stop taking, and they know this, or they should. If you're a psychiatrist working in a mental hospital, you should know that certain medications you gotta taper. They'll rip you right off those medications and put you on something else that very night. Like we have not had time for a diagnosis. What is going on? Um, my first night, they're taking blood. It felt like every few hours, to check to see if their experimental medication that they just put you on is affecting your vitals in any sort of way. Um, the social workers that were there during the week, they were all right. I'm not one to participate in group therapy. Um, I don't like being spoken down to. I feel like in these mental institution places or mental health places like the partial program, um, you're you're infantilized. People speak to you if you have no sense whatsoever, and I'm just like, I'm an academic. I know things. I can be articulate. You don't have to talk to me like I'm a child. Nobody likes that, whether you're from academia or not. Speak to people as if they have autonomy. My goodness. Um, the autonomy for judgments, at least, even if you're a little erratic and you don't have autonomy in terms of emotional outbursts or tendencies or sounds in your head, shadows running by. You don't have any autonomy over that, but you do have judgment. There is reasoning there. There is human reasoning at play in any given human perception, and there's truth to be found there, and it's just completely denied in the mental institution. Now we have made great strides since asylums. However, I don't believe uh, the prejudices that were within the asylum space, such as these poor subjects, they have no control, they have no meaningful life. We're just going to keep them out from the general public from causing a ruckus, and so we can experiment on them. I don't think those assumptions have gone away. I think they're better at hiding them. Um, because the first few days are okay, but then the weekend staff gets here and we get some social workers who should not be in the position that they're in. The old assumptions of the asylum coming back, being authoritarian towards patients. And I'm like, I am a grown adult. You don't talk to me that way. Else I'm gonna pitch fit like a 5-year-old. Excuse me. And come to find out with the autism, I've got the PDA. Like, whoa, y'all, it's off the chains. Tell me no. Yes. Tell me yes. No. Get out of my face. So those who are not well informed or who could be well informed and are using their knowledge for evil and for control, it's out there. Positions of power in the medical community. I mean, you hold power over the vulnerable populations that you're serving, or just the people that you're serving. Everybody, whether you have money or not, whether you have a disability or not, whether you are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs like me or not. Why are you trying to hold power over people? Everyone's in a vulnerable position as a patient, and so that attracts a certain crowd. And so you'll find folks who should not be in positions that they are in the mental health field. And I think that's just disgusting because you are in such a vulnerable place. You have no autonomy. You can't go outside. Motherfucker will tell you, oops, will tell you, oh, if you walk down the hallway 33 times, that's a mile, so it's just might as well be outside. Like, no. So I had had enough of what I eventually called their devil pills. And for being stuck so many times, I said, listen, y'all, I've got these heinous stomach issues. My body is depleted. If you stick me one more time, I am going to start throwing up everywhere, and it's going to be retching from hell. It's going to cause a scene. And I just feel like y'all are not listening to me. You're going to kill me. I can't. And then they wanted to take blood again. Hold up. Where is my autonomy in that moment? I said, I don't want you to take my blood. I said, because my body will react. I know what's about to happen. I feel it. I feel it coming. My tummy needs a break. My body needs a break. They take me into the day room and start taking my blood. And what happens? I start having a stomach attack. I'm retching. And y'all, the way that I retch, it's a scene in and of itself. My goodness. And everyone's crowding around me like, what's going on? And that makes me freak out more. I'm like, that's when I made a scene and flipped a table and talked about devil pills and they were trying to kill me. Um, and maybe they were on some level trying to kill my spirit, maybe not my body, but they were trying to kill the autonomy within me. And my body knows that. And the life force within it was saying, hell no. So then, I went to the psychiatrist and we can't let you go. Like, you're gonna hold me against my will? Like, yeah, doctor's orders. Hell no, what are my options? After a back and forth with with a very unpleasant social worker, they let me see another social worker. And if she deemed me unfit for the general population in the world, then I would have to see a judge, and then the judge would determine whether I'm going to stay in that hospital or not. I turned it on, y'all. Oh, this has all just been one big misunderstanding. I got myself out of there. Now, if they had been reasoning with me and not speaking to me as a child, then maybe I would have stayed longer. It might have been helpful. I really did need immediate attention. All they had to say was the insurance not isn't going to pay for it if you leave against doctor's orders. Come to find out. And I would have been like, well, okay, I'll try to grin and bear it. But at the same time, my goodness, y'all, I'm telling you not to stick me. I cannot handle it. Why in the mental institution is my autonomy taken away to that degree? Yeah, am I a danger to myself in certain capacities? Yeah. Mm, is the pressure within uh too much, so much so that I can't even just function out in the world? Yeah. But does that mean that my complete autonomy ought to be taken away? Y'all, I told you not to stick me. Don't stick me. Oh, I'm still upset at that. I'm still upset. Clearly, I got worked up talking about it. So that's today's little video on patient autonomy. At what point do we actually not have patient autonomy? Is there such a thing as patient autonomy? Maybe on the surface level, I refuse this treatment. Well, okay, but when you are in the thick of it, where you have a great need and are up against gatekeepers who will straight up sexually abuse you, or when you are in a setting where your patienthood, your subjecthood is stripped of its rational capacities altogether, and you are deemed unfit to make a decision for yourself. Where's your autonomy there? Luckily, I have the background that I do. I can be articulate in ridiculously stressful situations if need be, if I need to turn it on. Um, Others don't have that background. That's one reason why I'm so passionate about academic philosophy and spreading its cognitive benefits and educational resources. There is a dark side to the Western canon. Um, there are some spiritual wonderments to be found, and I do get wrapped up in a spiritual way in the history of philosophy. But these old men set up through their philosophy condition the possibility for the institutions that subject us today to all sorts of torments. Um, if you want to navigate through the system with all your limbs intact afterwards, or all your mental, emotional limbs intact afterwards, study philosophy, study that language, study it with us in a or in some space where your original voice, your expression, your interpretation, your application of the theory to your reality is not criticized or um, it penalized or, you know, prescribed as less than, corrected in some sort of way. But do come to know the language, this tricky language, these language games of philosophers. If you can practice that, meditate on these themes, meditate on this language, then in high pressure situations, you'll be well practiced enough to maintain your autonomy in situations where your rational capacities have ostensibly been stripped from you completely. All right, here we go. Let's upload this to the YouTube and on to the next video. My mouth is a motor. We're going to take advantage today, no matter how bad our hair is. Okay.